attending the City of Bessemer City Council workshop. The City of Bessemer City Council workshop today, Tuesday, December the 8th. The time is now 10 o'clock a.m. We'll ask that we'll say a word of silent prayer. We've had so much death around the city involving COVID-19 coronavirus. We just had another one of our icons to gain his wings and leave this earth into heaven. But we ask that you will pray that we'll do things decently and in order here in the city of Bessemer. A word of silent prayer, please. Amen. Roll call, Ms. Taylor.
Councilor Alexander.
Present.
Councilor Collier.
Present.
Councilor Crusoe.
Present.
Councilor Marshall. Councilor Marshall. Councilor Thickpen.
Present.
Councilor Matthews.
Present.
Councilor Donald.
Present.
You have 6 present, 1 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, please.
Status on small cell.
Is Councilor Matthews
Okay.
and or
Thank you.
Attorney Payton on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Councilor Matthews.
Madam Chair, we have not yet met. Hopefully I could get with the Ms. Coleman, and she will call the committee and the attorneys and possibly Mr. Blankenship and have a meeting, a final meeting concerning this, and then we will bring a recommendation back to the council on what we think would be the best next approach, because or no approach at all, because I think that'll be the better thing to do. So I get with Ms. Coleman this week to see if we can't squeeze one in before Christmas, it'll be after. Because we've gone this long, I don't think it's gonna hurt, just as long as we get done before we go back in session, before the next session starts.
Thank you, Councilor Matthews. Do you have anything to add, Attorney Payton?
I'm sorry, can y'all hear me?
We can now. Good morning.
Good morning. I noticed that ordinance that I prepared was in the package. I can wait and follow, go back to the council, the committee, or whatever y'all want to do. If you want to discuss that ordinance, we can. If you want to wait, we can wait. However y'all choose to look at it.
Yeah.
I would rather, Councilor Matthews.
I would rather come back to the committee, then come back to the full body.
All right.
Okay, we'll wait until a meeting has been set with the committee, and we'll bring the recommendation back to the body, and we'll discuss those that small cell ordinance at that time. Thank you, Councilor Matthews and Attorney Payton. Item number 5, please.
Madam President.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
This is Councilor Marshall. I just want to know that my arrival.
Ms. Taylor, will you please note that Councilor Marshall has arrived to the meeting?
Yes, Councilor Marshall arrived at the planning session at 10:05 a.m.
Thank you so much. Item number 5, please.
Item 5, status on economic development incentive guidelines.
Attorney Payton and Attorney Harris. Do we have a status?
Madam President, this is Shan again. I gave a talk on that at the last planning session and sent you guys the incentive worksheet that I had prepared on that shows the various types of incentives that have been granted over the 10 years for the different types of entities. And I thought that was what we were going to use as the guideline. I didn't know that you were looking for any other type of document, and if so, what type of document?
We were not looking for another type of document. You are absolutely correct. You did come in and you did explain the 10-year versus the 5-year, and we'll have a resolution. Is that the correct way to go to a resolution to accept this economic and development incentive? Is that correct?
Well,
Attorney Harris, are you on the line?
I don't think that we need to do a resolution. I think that you have those incentive guidelines in front of you. And so when parties make application to the council or the Industrial Development Board, whichever entity receives that application can look and see what's been done in the past and use that as a guide to, to determine what ought to be done or not be done. I think if you do a resolution and say you're going to do A, B, C, D, and E, you could be opening up Pandora's box to people applying for abatements.
Okay, now explain how we're going to open up Pandora's box by doing a resolution.
Well,
it's only saying the resolution only should agree with what we're agreeing with you with. Is that not correct?
Well, again, I mean, you have all that worksheet did was show you what's been granted in the past. And so I don't know exactly what you mean by a resolution. Are you saying you want a resolution saying that you would use, you say, I'm not following that. I think every situation's a little unique. So if somebody were to come in, for instance, with automotive manufacturing abatement application, and that creates 75 jobs. I think you could go back to this worksheet that I prepared and look and say, okay, we had one previously that had 70 or 75 jobs or 150 jobs, and we did X. We maybe gave a 5-year abatement for that. So we wouldn't want to go over 5 years, for that type of facility. But I think each manufacturer, each tax abatement application is going to be a little different, and you can use those guidelines that I went over with you, but I think you're going to have to apply the new facts to the guidelines to come up with what you think is best. I don't know that there's such a thing as a hard and fast plug and play rule for this.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. Councilor Matthews.
Thank you, ma'am. I concur with Attorney Payton. It's no one size fits all. So that what we went over was a model, and those models, if need to be tweaked at any given time, we can tweak. But to pass a resolution or just, I guess, or carve something in stone wouldn't be the best thing, because things changes and from time to time, and it may be a Jack's one time, and it may be a manufacturing, large manufacturing, small manufacturing, but we do have something we can go by, and to be a little consistent in what we've been doing. And like I said, if we need to tweak it at that particular time, but I wouldn't carve anything in stone.
Thank you,
Madam
Councilor
President.
Matthews. Any other Councilor Marshall?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I agree with Attorney Payton and Councilor Matthews. And I think I've been saying it ever since we talked about doing guidelines, is that every situation is going to be unique and different. And it's, you know, it really is a matter of, you know, what you can negotiate that can be mutually beneficial. So to have a resolution and put something hard and fast in place, I don't think, and I agree, it's probably not the direction that we want to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Marshall. Thank you, Councilor Matthew. Any other councilor? If not, we have our sheets to go by. And when those applications come in, we're sure that Attorney Payton and or Harris will get with this councilor, and we will go from there. Item number 6, please.
Item 6 is a status on refinancing of bonds.
Mayor Gully, are you on the line?
Madam President, good morning to you and the entire council.
Good morning, Mayor Gully. Now, this was placed on the agenda. If I'm not mistaken, Walter Lewis came to us some months ago with a substantial savings and with a report on our refinancing of the bond. Mayor Gully, what's the status on that from that report?
Madam President, that is correct. Mr. Walter Lewis did come, and if you recall that anything that we are able to do at this particular time is dependent on the completion of our audit. At the last planning session, I brought in our finance director, Ms. Pryor, as well as Mr. Eugene Pitts, CPA LLC, and so to give you all an update and stuff on the audit and when it would be complete. As soon as that audit is complete, we can move forward with refunding those bonds.
Now, let me ask a question. From my reading and conversations, do we have to have the audit in place to refinance those bonds, Michael?
To my understanding, the audit has to be to a substantial point of completion before, and so we can proceed. To my understanding, it does not have to be completely finished, but it has to be substantially complete before we can proceed.
Okay, I think that got my questions. Councilors, are there any concerns and or questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
at what stage, Mayor, at what stage or status is the audit in at this particular time? Are they halfway or near end or what? Or beginning?
Madam President,
Yes,
Councilor
sir.
Councilor Matthews, I don't have that information before me, but if you recall, we gave that financial update at the last planning session. I don't see Finance Director Ms. Pryor on the line. She may be able to answer that question, how close we are and so to completion. So we'll have to get that information and make it available to you all.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to be sarcastic or anything, but if this agenda is out, you know, like it was and is, it seemed like it would have behooved her to be a part of, I mean, if available, to be on the line or have some type of information so we could know, instead of just, you know, what bothers me is we meet, pass some on the agenda and then have no one to answer. Then we go another month and before we get an answer. Can you get in interim, can you get that information? Because to savings you're not gonna be able to get the same saving month after month 3 months down the line or 4 months down the line that you could have gotten. I don't know how long our savings is going to be at where they are now. I don't think they looking at some of the, I guess the numbers don't look like they've changed that drastically much, but they're not going to continue to stay in our favor. And if our auditors need to bump it up a little bit to get these savings, then we need to do so. That's just my thought or theory.
Well, Madam President, Councilor Matthews, I can make that information available before the next month. That's what you're asking. But as I forestated, I had both on the line at the last meeting, and they gave you an update as to when it would be complete. Finance, they're actually working on it now. So she had asked to be excused and stuff from this meeting and stuff to continue and stuff to work on what they need and stuff to work on relevant and stuff to the audit. So I guess in my defense and in her defense, I didn't know that the same question was going to be asked and so from last month to this month. But we can get the information and stuff before, as you say, the next planning session.
Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes. Are you finished, Councilor Matthews?
Yeah.
Councilor Matthews, are you finished?
Yeah. I was just trying to get some clarity. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Marshall.
No, I understand what Councilor Matthews was saying and also the mayor, but I think what we need to do is to make sure we're a little bit more specific in terms of what we ask for, because if we just say status on refinancing of bonds, that doesn't necessarily say that you want to report on the audit. So I think we just need to be a little bit more specific in terms of what we ask for, and then expect those people who have the knowledge to be present to answer the questions. Thank you, Madam President.
Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilor Marshall. Am I speaking with Councilor Crusoe?
That is correct.
Councilor Crusoe, go ahead.
Kind of piggybacking on the statement that Councilor Marshall just made, if the audit is what's holding up our being able to refinance the bond, then I mean that should be a given as to who should be here in order to discuss the necessary information to put us in the know as to where we stand. Is that not correct?
Councilor Crusoe, you're speaking to me.
I was asking Councilor Marshall when he made statement as to being more specific. If the audit is what's holding up us being able to refinance, then whoever needed to be in place to provide us that information concerning the audit, should have been present.
Not necessarily.
Yes, sir.
Well, any other council with any other comments and concerns? I do agree, Mayor Gurley, I do agree with Councilor Matthews. If we're asking, I think this, when you ask for a status on the refinancing of the bonds, I think when I ask for a status of the refinancing of the bonds, that entails all. So when I said the status of the refinancing, I meant where we were with what we need to refinance. And if we need our audit to refinance, where are we with that audit? So I'll thank you, Councilor Marshall. I'll be more intel as to what we asked for. But Mayor Gurley has stated that he'll get that information to us, and as soon as that information comes to the office, we will get that to each councilor. Item number 7, Ms. Taylor.
Update on gas tax spreadsheet.
I think Councilor Crusoe.
That is correct,
Is that correct?
Madam Chair.
Okay.
I
We do
asked for
have that.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying that we do have that breakdown in our packet. Are there any questions and or concerns?
Where is the breakdown? I don't have it in my packet.
You don't have a Bessemer gas tax fund estimated projection sheet cost breakdown in your packet through November 2020? Does any other counselor have that in their packet?
I have it, Madam President.
Yeah, I was on
Okay.
mute. I had myself muted, but yes, I have.
Okay.
I
Yes, sir.
I have it.
Oh, Counselor Crusoe, do you see it attached to any other
Yes, I see it
piece of?
at the very end. I see it now. Okay, is
Okay,
this
thank you so much.
as far as with this breakdown, can somebody explain a little more as to district specific? How will we determine what's available for each district?
Well,
Now, Counselor Crusoe, as I looked at it, one moment, please. As I looked at it, and I viewed it on yesterday, there are no, they don't have it district specific. Mayor Gully is there, or Ron Marshall. Oh, I'm sorry, Ron Gilbert, EEFS.
Madam Chair.
President, Madam President?
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
As you all know, gas tax funds can only be used, I guess, for anything gas tax related, as you know, paving, so forth and so on. But it has never been broken down district wise. The only time that I can recall gas tax being broken down district wise is when we were sitting around in such a table discussing and stuff what areas in our district desired and stuff to be paved. That's the only time that I can recall ever gas tax funding and so be earmarked and so per district.
Well, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
To my understanding, upon coming in, I was told that the account for District 7 had been depleted as it related to the paving of the road. So with being told as far as the account for District 7, I mean, so I guess as it correlates or conflicts with what I have here before me, can somebody give me a little more clarity on that?
Madam President, what had been depleted at that particular time, if you recall, each district was given X amount of BP funding. And at that time, the funding and stuff for District 7 had been and stuff depleted at that time because the previous council person and stuff had donated and so his portion and stuff to Jonesboro School. That was the amount that we were talking about at that particular time that had been depleted in District 7. It was not, and so gas tax funding, and so for paving, because as I forestated, the only time that we've broken down from gas tax per district is when there was an actual paving project going on. Thank you.
So in the future, what do we need to do as it relates to gas tax as a council on getting streets paved in our district?
When those funds are available or and stuff, when we're able and stuff to go to the bond market to secure whichever process this body and stuff choose and stuff to path they choose and stuff to proceed, sitting around the table, I would say, as we always done, and decided and stuff what in some districts and so prioritize and see what districts and streets in your area is most needed.
Okay, as of right now, looking at this breakdown that's before me, what is the amount that we have in our gas tax funds on right now?
I would say at this particular time, the council body has voted and it is already earmarked and stuff for other projects.
But that wasn't the question. I said, given the breakdown that I have before me, so I can make sure that I clearly understand what's before me, what is the amount that's in our gas tax account right now? I mean, don't everybody answer at the same time.
Well, give me an opportunity to look at the sheet, and I'll be able to.
Do you know who prepared the sheet?
Excuse me?
I said, who prepared the sheet?
Councilor Crusoe, this is Ron Gilbert. We prepared the sheet that's dealing with the projects that are shown. But I thought that Mayor Gully and went over, and Keela Pryor went over the monies that were in the gas tax last meeting, and gave a detailed breakdown of the 7 cent and the 4 cent and what was in that. That's my recollection.
Mr. Gilbert, do you have those numbers before you then, if they were provided? Because I don't recall them.
No, ma'am, I don't have them right in front of me. But what I do have
them.
Okay, I will get them from President. Thank you all so much.
I have those numbers, Mr. Gilbert, that were provided to us according to the sales, the taxes, the gas taxes up to 10 cents. We do have that, but I must agree with Councilor Crusoe. Even with that, we still don't have a bottom line as to where we are as of December the 8th, 2020. And Mayor Gully, you don't have to crunch right now to look at it. You can just send that to the council's office, and we'll make sure each and every councilor get a copy of where we are right now with the funding. I will give Councilor Crusoe the numbers that was given to us by Ms. Pryor on last week.
Madam President.
Yes,
no,
sir.
ma'am. I've given you all the numbers of what was in the gas tax funds first a month ago. At that particular time, you asked me to give a breakdown of where all and stuff of that money already and stuff is earmarked to. I've done that. I don't know what else and stuff you're asking me for. And each one of the gas tax accounts, I gave you, and it came to a balance of approximately 1.1 million and some dollars. I knew exactly what was being asked, but I've already given you that information.
Yes, sir, and I have that information. All information that you've given me, I will give it to Councilor Crusoe. If I misstated it, let me state it again. All information that you have given me, I'll give it to Councilor Crusoe. But as I stated, I would have looked for on this sheet, I would have looked for a balance on here. But since it's not, I'll give Councilor Crusoe what I have, what you gave us, and what we got on last week, if that will suffice.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome, Councilor Crusoe. Will that suffice?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. I'll get that together, Councilor Crusoe, and I'll have that to you before the end of the day on Wednesday. Item number 8, please, Councilor Taylor. Ms. Taylor.
Item 8A, upgrade and or install streetlights on Flint Hill Road between 4th Avenue and Carriage House Road. B, upgrade and or install streetlights on McCall Road between Flint Hill and Eastern Valley Road.
Counselor Matthews, is that you?
Yeah, yes, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair, and to Councilor Taylor too. No, I'm just kidding. And these two, both A and B, Mayor, I would like to, for the electric utility department to go out and cruise the area and look at the dark spots that we have from when you turn off of 4th Avenue there on Flint Hill Road, going into Carriage Hill and past Green Isle Apartments all the way to Carriage House Road. We have some very dark areas in there. And some time ago, we had a policy or a rule about the distance of street lights and how they are to be installed. And I've had some constituents, not some even back before the pandemic, to come in and talk about the dark areas on Flint Hill Road. And if you would turn left there on McCall Road, going toward the promenade, there are some dark spots there. So just a comprehensive look and or study to satisfy the dark spots for safety, public safety that is, along those two thoroughfares, Flint Hill and McCall Road.
Madam President, Council Matthews, we'll
Yes.
pass it on
Yes, sir.
to the utility department.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Counselor Matthews. Ms. Taylor, item number 9, please.
Yes, ma'am. Discussion on engineer services.
I think that was placed on, if I'm not mistaken, by Counselor Crusoe. Counselor Crusoe.
That is correct. Thank you, Madam Chair. From our last council meeting and several before, as to the invoices for the engineering services that we receive here in the city of Bessemer, I would like for the council as a whole to open up our options here in the city of Bessemer as far as engineering services. As to the services that, which are being provided to us by the current engineering firm that we have, I would like to open it up whereby other firms can, or if not hiring our, well, I know when I made mention of us opening up the options of hiring our own engineers for the city of Bessemer. Some statements were being made as to some of the services that the EFS provide that we would not be privy to if we were to hire our own engineers. Even with that being said, can't we entertain or either I guess be in the know as far as in knowing that we are receiving the most bang for our buck as far as in being in paying for these services?
Counselor Crusoe, this week I have taken and I've gone to several firms, engineering firms here. I went to one Birmingham and I went to one in Tuscaloosa for what we have going on right now. What we have line item for, the price we have line item, from what I'm told from both or all three of the engineering firms, we have hired a firm and we shouldn't have to go on the outside to get anything that having to do with engineering unless it's a conflict of interest. But for what we have going on right now, we have a great price right now for what we have going on. Any other counselor did any other?
Madam Chair.
Any other? Yes,
Madam
sir.
Chair. Yeah. I concur with what you just said, and being being, I guess, a father of a civil engineer, and having to deal with some of his instructors and professors in Huntsville at Alabama A&M. Nobody need to say go Bulldogs, okay? I will say this: the services that we have under one cap is sufficient, like you said, unless there's a conflict of interest, and the pay scale is in line. Some of them are a little under, and I'm not saying that for Mr. Gilbert to try to fudge up, okay? But I'm being honest, and then when I was in Virginia, I did ask some questions. Although it was during the holiday, I asked a few questions there because I went out with my son, and they tend to agree. But they are substantially higher there. But and what we have going on in the city right at this particular time, it's a lot of moving parts right now. So I would agree with what you said. And times past, and I'm gonna go back to something that was mentioned like last week. We've always had an engineering service, but we didn't have as many projects going on in 1998. Okay, and but as things have progressed, there's a lot going on, and there's a increase in, I guess, in billing, and with a lot of increase, with a lot of growth, you're gonna spend a lot of money. Not to say that they are out of line with their prices, but you're gonna spend money to get the service that's required and needed for the city. So I just agree with what you said. Maybe I added a little too much, but I'm sorry. It is what it is.
It is what it is, and we have to be fair in our dealings. And I know we all want the best for Bessemer, and 600,000. Wow, it looks like a whole lot of money until he went to that computer and started to show me about the billing and how they bill. Right. And I think the thing with the city of Bessemer is this: if we had a grant writer for the city of Bessemer, because I was looking at there are a number of grants out there that would be good for the city of Bessemer if we had a grant writer. I think if we were looking at anything at this point in time, because if I'm not mistaken, we're using EEFS as well as grant writer and grant seeking for the city of Bessemer. I would think if we had a grant writer for the city of Bessemer, someone who's very knowledgeable about municipal government, I think that would be the best thing right now for the city of Bessemer. Someone who knows how to seek it out and go after it with the city's permission. We did discuss that part of it, having a grant writer, and we don't have a grant writer. So we're actually using EEFS at this time. They're wearing a number of hats. So, Councilor Crusoe, not to say that in the future we cannot look at this, even sit down and discuss this. But right now, I think we're getting the most for our money. If we think that we're not getting the most for our money, we can always have a second opinion.
Madam Chair.
Madam.
Go ahead. It's just something I forgot.
Counselor Marshall.
I just want to make this comment. I do think that we've got a great engineering service. We got a lot of projects that are really moving. So it's going to cost us money. I mean, just can't set a hard and fast budget. What happens when you get to the budget and you still got projects that are going on? The projects still have to go on. And secondly, I think there's an advantage to having a company like EEFS that's been around Bessemer about 25 years. I think there's an advantage in terms of relationships that perhaps they have built over those 25 years with, for example, the MPO, with ALDOT. There are relationships that are to be valued and can be valuable to us because they understand the inner workings of ALDOT and MPO, you know, what their requirements are in engineering kind of projects. So I think, you know, you got to add that factor into the whole picture. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Counselor Crusoe. I haven't heard from you.
No problem. You all have given enough clarity on it. Thank you all.
And Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
One last statement. Now, notwithstanding what we've all said, we still need to budget properly and within our means and like I said a couple of meetings ago, we need to revisit our budgetary items. And lastly, if you would go back to like 2000, if someone would go back to 2002 and look at the trend of engineering services, you would see that they start climbing and each year. And then when it got to 2000 and I think when the Promenade started coming on, Tanner Hill Promenade, and coming on up to now, you'll see it made an upward trend. So that's what you call growth. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, we're grateful for the growth in the city of Bessemer. We're grateful for what we see in our commercial portion of the city of Bessemer, but I truly want to see some growth in our communities here in the city of Bessemer.
Amen.
Thank you all. Item number 10, Ms. Taylor.
Item 10 is a discussion on Downtown Redevelopment Authority.
I think Councilor Marshall placed that there.
That's correct. Thank you, Madam Chair. As the council will remember, I guess last meeting or so, we appointed Dr. Pitts to the Downtown Redevelopment Authority. And we've still got 2 places or positions that we need to fill. I'd like to ask this council and like for us to put on the agenda next week a resolution to advertise for those couple of vacancies that are still remaining so that we can go on and get this board staffed and to get them working. So Madam Chair, that's my request, is that we have a resolution next week to advertise for those 2 vacancies.
Councilor Marshall,
Thank you.
I'm not mistaken. Councilor Marshall, if I'm not mistaken, we're already advertising for those. We did come to that consensus. And the ending date is December the 18th, 2020.
When did we do the resolution? When did we pass that resolution?
Again, let me research, Councilor Marshall, but I'm almost certain that, and I'll get back with you right after the meeting.
Okay.
Ms. Taylor.
The City Hall, I'll get back to you, but I'm almost certain. Ms. Taylor, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, can you shed some light on that situation?
Yes, ma'am. You're correct. We have advertisement going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
good deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're ahead of the game.
All right.
We're ahead. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We want to go ahead and get our business done as we're supposed to do it in order.
All right.
Item number 11, Ms. Taylor.
Item 11, install Jersey wall next to Dollar General located at 1750 4th Avenue Southwest.
Councilor Matthews, I think that was you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We have a thoroughfare, Mayor and Chief, if the Chief, I hadn't heard him say. We have a thoroughfare from McCullough Road to 4th Avenue. And then they, as in the shoppers at Dollar General, when they feel like going to Dollar General, they'll just cut right and go right into Dollar General's parking lot. That is not a egressing and regressing road. These people have made a road where the cell tower property, I don't know the address for the cell tower property, but if you go to Dollar General right past Bessemer Academy, I mean, if either we put a wall there or we just cut a road through there. I mean, that's the most sensible thing to do, because are we gonna, and we'll have to name the road as well, so street or whatever it is, but we're gonna end up, somebody is gonna get hurt, and that involves the general public, for people egressing and regressing on McCullough Road. I mean, they come out there sometime at night with no lights on. And if Mr. Gilbert's on the line, I think he's familiar with, we just did a 5G upgrade on that site where the cell towers are. Most cell tower roads have a access by utility companies, and I can show you 100 of them. Whether it's in Pleasant Grove, Wenon, or wherever, but they have a bar across to keep people out, unless they're utility companies to come to service the equipment there within the perimeter of the cell phone tower area. But instead, we have shoppers and people who just want to cut through off McCullough Road to go to Dollar General or to get to 4th Avenue. So that's where we are. Mayor, can you I guess chime in?
Madam President, Councilor Matthews,
Yes,
as you are aware, I'm very familiar with that area and stuff that you were talking about. I think it's a while back, you and I actually and so took a look at that and stuff at that time and stuff as well. Why don't we have the city engineer take a look at that area and stuff and see what kind of options that we have, and come back and give us an update and stuff of some of what's suggested and stuff to stop people from going in and out there. I'm very familiar with that area, and I'm very familiar with some of the complaints that this office has had relevant and stuff to it as well.
Yeah. And lastly, the stops where you put in a parking lot for you to pull in a parking place. They've even took the rebar out of the stop bar concrete and pulled it around so they could go into Dollar General. So I mean, it's mind-boggling just to see what length people will go through. Thank you, Madam Chair.
If you recall, at one time we had, I don't know what happened to that, but it was some concrete barriers up there and stuff at one particular point, and I don't know who they belong to or who moved those, but it did become a thoroughfare after those concrete barriers and stuff was moved.
Yeah, Don Gaylor was here then. Yeah,
Right.
It sure was. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you all. They say if the rock hits you, just holler out and keep going. Out, because I do take that road as I thought it was and go to Dollar General. Item number 12, please.
You got to be kidding, not you.
Sorry, but I take that road and go to Dollar General because that's what it looks like, a road. Item number 12, Ms. Taylor. 12 and 13 will go together. The animal ordinance is the tethering ordinance is the same thing. So we'll delete item number 12 and we will pick up on item number 13, Ms. Taylor.
Okay, item 13 is tethering ordinance.
Counselor Thigpen, I think we got you.
Yes, ma'am. And I think they're two different things because we talked about animals like farm animals, domestic animals, and farm animals was one thing. I think Councilor Crusoe was concerned about chickens and, whatever else. And then the tether was strictly for dogs. So we do have two different subjects.
Are you there?
Which one of us?
Hello? Okay, Counselor Thigpen, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
We're speaking of okay, I can't hear you. We're speaking of the ones with the dogs and cats. Attorney Harris, are you on the line? Attorney Harris, are you on the line? I know that he's there at the city hall.
Counselor, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now. You want to speak? Did you hear Counselor Thigpen?
I did, and I thought this all was relating to the dog tethering ordinance. Although, when you mentioned it, I know there are two different things that we may be working on. But I did speak with Mr. Lawrence Hallett with the city on yesterday, and we went over the ordinances to some degree. I sent him a copy so he could look over it again. He wanted to go over some things and see how they harmonize with what the city's already doing. And I expect to get back with him with a meeting personally within a day or two, maybe by Friday.
Okay, I did see your email, Attorney Harris. Thank you. I did see that and the ordinance that you had. So you sent it to Mr. Hatter. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from that because we're having these freezing temperatures, and I know there are weather and nowhere to get in out of the.
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely follow up with him just probably by Friday.
We will place this ordinance back on the agenda again for, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 15th, our last meeting of the year, after Attorney Harris has gotten with Mr. Lawrence Hatter today and or tomorrow. Any counselor have any concerns and or questions
Madam
concerning
President?
this? Yes, sir.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
I would ask Attorney Harris and stuff to not only get in touch with Mr. Lawrence Hatter, but again get in touch with Chief Roper and stuff as well, because whatever we were able to agree upon, we got to look at the ability to enforce it and stuff as well.
Yes, sir. Attorney Harris, did you make a note of that? Chief Roper as well as Mr. Hatter. Have you muted himself again? While we're waiting on him, item number 14, Ms. Taylor.
Item 14.
Ms. Taylor.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Item 14, discussion on District 1 through 7 issues.
District 1.
I'll continue to forward to the mayor's office.
Thank you, sir. District 2.
I'll forward to Terrain. Thank you.
Thank you. District 4.
I'll continue to forward mine to the mayor's office.
Thank you. 5. District 5. District 6.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess the first one would be those 3 houses. Hopefully we'll get an update on those, on the sign off of those 3 houses and asbestos checks for the 3 house structures that I had on the agenda several times in the pipe shop area. Mayor, you recall those 3 houses and that the building department was working on?
Madam President,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
Councilor Matthews, I do recall in some of those 3 houses. Right, you've had them on there and stuff several times.
Yes.
We'll
Just status on those in the very near future. See how we coming with those as far as asbestos and the signing the release for demolition.
we'll see exactly where they are on those issues.
Okay, thank you, man. Then if Mr. Gilbert's on the line, the county took over several areas within the city thoroughfares, which one being the interstate, right there at the interstate, the traffic light when you coming going west on Eastern Valley Road to take a left to get on the on ramp of 459. Well, the turning arrow doesn't operate, and it has traffic backed up there. So that's one traffic congestion. And during this Christmas holiday season, with the shoppers coming from leaving the promenade, getting back on the interstate, it's getting bottlenecked right there. So I'd like to, I guess someone needs to get with the county to check that traffic light out.
Okay, Councilor Matthews, I'll get with the county. I know exactly what you're talking about. It is kind of cumbersome when you're leaving the mall and getting on 459 headed towards Hoover.
Right. Thank you, sir. And the last, we were talking about the refinancing and bonds and gas tax to mayor and also to the each council member. I think at some point, and I think some of these meetings, like the utility budget thing, I think sometime we may need to dedicate some time for, I guess, big conversations or big meetings, so we could sit down and go over some planning for these monies that's going to be coming in, and carve out what we have going out, and actually what we're going to have for our, and Councilor Crusoe said something about how much for this district, how much, and I think it's going to take some sitting down and meeting of the minds and planning, so when this money arrives, we won't have to all run to the table. We could have something started, and just to be proactive about it. And I'm talking about the monies that the gas tax, whatever money we're gonna get on that's not pledged out, and the refinance money if there's some project. And I know everybody wants some roads paid, and you know, people kind of see through a lot of things, but one thing they can see through is paving roads right before the election. So I hope we can just sit down in the next right after the new year and come up with some projects that we can all agree on within the city of Bessemer, because we have some that needs to be done, infrastructure especially, because at the next meeting I want to talk about some of the roads, some of the ditches that's coming right up under the pavement, that's going to soon wash out, and we're going to have some problem with some cars falling off the side of the road. And there are some out there. So, but bear those things in mind, and that's all I have for now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Matthews, District 7.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for you, Mayor Gully. Last we spoke concerning this situation, this grocery store over here in District 7, where we are accumulating the I guess the trailer of an 18-wheeler truck, along with a lot of other, I guess trash that's being placed outside, in and about this building. You said that you would have an environmental officer or someone to go out there and check it out. Can you give me an update on that, please?
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
Councilor Crusoe, I'm
Yes.
gonna step aside and let Chief Roper speak to you concerning that.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to the entire council.
Good morning.
Ms. Crusoe, we are
Yes.
trying to locate the owner of that property to give them notice. And once we've done that properly, we will move to do what we have to do.
Yes, sir. So I mean, what are we doing? Have we tried to I guess letter certified mail? What measures are we taking as far as in notifying them?
We've got to find out who the correct owner is first.
Yes, sir. No problem. I mean I just wanted an update on that because I see that as I'm passing by, I guess I'll have to stop and get information from him because he's there every day dumping off more stuff. But thank you so much as far as in all that you all are doing as far as in to help get this that issue resolved for us here in District 7.
Yes, ma'am.
Attorney Payton or Mary Gully, whichever can answer this question. I made the request as far as in providing us with a copy of the properties owned by the city of Bessemer. I received an email with 3 properties on that list. Was that the I guess that was that the information that was being provided from my request? I'm just trying to make sure.
Councilor Don LaShan, Councilor Crusoe also, right, those are properties that we've foreclosed on. To my knowledge, I know I had asked Ellen to send those over. I didn't put my eyes on that list, but I think it's the same properties that we've sent over before.
Okay, my question to concerning the list, that those are the only properties owned by the city of Bessemer.
No, ma'am. I mean, we own hundreds of pieces of property. You own City Hall, you own Bessemer Utilities, you own, when you say owned by the city of Bessemer, you're talking about, what are you saying? I'm not following.
Vacant buildings owned or houses, property owned by the city of Bessemer, owned by Bessemer Utility. I mean, any entity under the umbrella of the city of Bessemer, I would like to be provided with a list of the properties that we own.
I do not have such a list. I don't know that such a list exists of every piece of property.
So we, as a city, we don't know what it is that we own.
Man, we get tax cards every year for every city piece of property that the city owns, but we own substations.
If we're receiving tax cards and paying taxes for the property that we own, I'm trying to follow you with this. I mean, how is it that we're not able to formulate a list from what we own?
I'm telling you,
properties are being sold and we don't even know that we own them. I mean, how is it that these buyers are being privy to such information and we as the council who's over property don't know?
Ma'am, no property is being sold by the city of Bessemer without council approval.
Okay, what are the measures or what can you possibly do to provide me with a list of the buildings, houses, property that's owned by the city of Bessemer? What's the next step? I mean, so we won't have to go round and round with this.
I don't know. I don't have a list of property. Are you asking, you want the city attorney to prepare a list of all the property that is owned by the city? I don't think that's.
I'm not asking you in particular for anything. I'm asking who you lead me in the direction that I need to go. Who do I need to speak with on getting that list provided?
I don't know. I mean, you want every single piece of property that is owned either by the city of Bessemer or Bessemer Utilities.
Not just Bessemer Utilities, by the city of Bessemer in its entirety. The IDB board, Bessemer Utilities, I mean, every entity.
Well, the IDB is a separate corporation. You would have to ask the Industrial Development Board for a list of the property that they own.
So are you saying to me, Attorney Payton, that we do not know what we own as a city? I mean, I'm trying to be clear on what you're saying to me, because it's not making any sense to me.
I'm saying that I don't have a list. You asked
Okay,
me for a list of, let me finish. You asked me for a list of the foreclosed properties. I gave that to you.
I didn't ask for a list of foreclosed properties. I didn't know we had foreclosed properties. I didn't specify foreclosed properties. I said the properties that's owned by the city of Bessemer. That's all I asked for.
Okay, I think, Councilor Crusoe, I think how we can easily get to what you're looking for. I think I hear what you're looking for. You're looking for a spreadsheet of all. The only thing that has to be done is a spreadsheet. How we pay our taxes, there should be a spreadsheet. You don't need the amount of taxes or anything. You just want to know what we're paying taxes on and whether or not they're vacant. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yes, I mean, if it's owned by the city of Bessemer, yes, ma'am. I mean, simply because, as I explained numerous times before, we have individuals who have ideas, who want to buy certain property here in the city of Bessemer. I'm receiving numerous phone calls about a property here in my district, where people are wanting to purchase it or utilize it for business purposes. So my question was then, and still is, how are certain people being privy to what is owned by the city of Bessemer? And a lot of the people who have come to me with ideas and suggestions or wanting to invest in home, someone who has grown up here in the city of Bessemer and wanting to invest, I can't provide them with any information as to of the different buildings, so they can look into possibly investing in the city of Bessemer. I mean, from I guess what kind of has added a little more fuel to this issue on Thanksgiving, as we were out feeding some of the families for Thanksgiving. The Masonic Lodge that came out and participated in these events and provided the meals were saying that they were looking for a location to operate out of, given how active they are in the community and here in the city of Bessemer. My mind just kind of started roaming ideas or suggestions here in the of any type property that we have that to help facilitate somebody who is who is giving back to the community. So that's why I came before the council, and even before now, I've asked on numerous different occasions as to what property it is that we own here in the city of Bessemer, so we can open those options up for individuals or organizations who would like to be housed here, or like I said, their ideas or suggestions to the table here in the city of Bessemer. But we can't get to that step if we don't know what it is that we own. In order for them.
I hear what you're saying, and I think I understand exactly what you're saying. Mayor Gully.
Madam President.
Yes, sir. I think to cut around all this, what she's saying is that those properties that we are paying taxes on, they should be, if they're not, they should be on a spreadsheet where she's not asking for the property taxes and or the cost of the property. What she's asking for is the names, a spreadsheet of the names of the properties that the city of Bessemer owned. That should be readily available and ready to print off of the computer. Is that not right? Or do we need to get with you and Miss Keila Pryor, or whomever is paying the taxes, responsible for paying those taxes on the properties that the city of Bessemer owns? Is that correct? Can we get a copy of that without the property taxes on them?
I have absolutely no idea, so Councilor Donna. I don't think such lists and stuff exist now. And furthermore, I'll just have to sit down and stuff and see. I don't know if I got the manpower to do that. Now, if I want to hire somebody, and if that's what you all asking me, to sit someone in a corner and stuff and try and stuff to research and find out every single piece of property that's owned and stuff by this city. For instance, Chamber building is owned by, the library is owned by the city, and just go. I just don't. I don't have a spreadsheet or a list of every single property that's owned by the city. I don't have.
I understand, but the easiest way to do it is this way. If whomever have already written a check and they had to get a card in order to write the checks, and I'm quite sure they did not write a check and did not make a photocopy of that card that they sent a check out on, I'm sure whomever does that has a binder. I'm quite sure, because I did it for years. I'm quite sure that whomever has a binder have all of those tax cards in there. And I think the only thing that if we can just get with whomever with your permission and have Ms. Coleman to make a binder, and we'll just look at that binder. Is that possible, Mirko?
Councilor Donald?
Who am I speaking with?
It's Greg Harris, Councilor Donald.
Yes, sir.
It may be, Councilor Donald, and I need to check with the tax assessor's office to see if it may be possible to make up a list from their records, because there are many properties, even if you look from who pays taxes, there are a lot of these properties exempt from taxes, property owned by the municipality or exempt. So let's see if maybe that I can gather a list from the tax assessor's office.
Okay, we'll drop that right there with you, Attorney Harris, and we'll look to hear back from you at the next planning session in January on this subject right here. That way we won't have to keep passing the buck. While you're here in the city of Bessemer today, if you don't mind, I can meet you out front and we can walk across to the courthouse, and we can go ahead and see what it is we can do or what it is we need to do today.
That would be just fine with me.
All right.
Councilor Donald.
I'll meet you. Yes, sir.
This is Shan. I mean, it's even easier than that. All you have to do, if you go on the Jefferson County website, you go to the tax site, and if you can, City of Bessemer, you'll pull up every piece of property that is owned by the City of Bessemer. If you do that with, if Councilor Crusoe wants to know what property is owned by the Industrial Development Board, all she would have to do is go to the website and key in Industrial Development Board in the City of Bessemer, and it will pull up every single property that is owned by the Industrial Development Board. So no one's trying to hide anything. It's out there. It's just when you talk about the City of Bessemer and all the property it owns, I mean, you'll get substations and right of way. You'll get, I mean, it won't make any sense, but you know,
water tanks.
You know.
Okay, that that's fine. Attorney Harris, I'll meet you out front of Jefferson County Courthouse. I'll call you after the meeting, and we'll go up and see what it is that we can do from there, and that we can send to the counselors and to the mayor. I'm quite sure he has it, but we'll send whatever it is that we get from the courthouse to Attorney Payne as well as Mayor Gully. Does that suffice, Councilor Crusoe?
That's fine. Madam Chair, I heard Attorney Payton explain how easy it is to access it. I just would think that as a municipality, that when we would be would have some type I guess record of what it is that that we own. That's why the question was presented here. But nevertheless, yes, ma'am. That'll be fine. Another question, lastly but not least, I've received numerous phone calls too by different employees, Mayor Gully, concerning their concerns about their health and exposure to COVID-19 in these different positions inside of the buildings. Are we working towards being I guess proactive more so than reactive with the oncoming days and months to come, knowing that we're headed into we're in the middle of another spike? Mayor Gully.
Madam President, I do have a standard way of handling anybody in any department, not only City Hall, and so that may have exposure or test positive. And as a matter of fact, we coordinated with the fire department, Gold Point Lab, and Jefferson County to quickly test individuals. And if they test positive, we remove them and stuff from the workplace. Now, everybody got himself a different opinion about himself, the way they think things should be done, but we are following CDC guidelines, asking us up to the correct way that I think himself that that we should be handling this. Our fire department personnel, 2 individuals have been trained by CDC and stuff to handle this. So, from an administrative standpoint, we're doing what we need and stuff to do to make sure our employees are safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. District 3, we have sent several things to terrain, and we'll continue to send them our work to terrain. But monumental mounds, I think I've been making this announcement for the last 3 weeks and asking about this trash and all of this rubbish that's been out since the middle of September. Mayor Gully, I would love to see someone pick up that rubbish out there instead of picking up in Lipscomb and in Harrytown. And I say that to say this. I was sitting on my bus on last Thursday in Harrytown to pick up from one of the schools in Harrytown. And I saw the Bessemer top loader picking up a tree that had been cut there. I didn't ask any questions because I didn't know whether or not they were given the liberty as a sister city to help out there. I don't know, but I would love to see that that rubbish coming into the city of Bessemer there with the sofas and the trash bags. They've just started to dump there. I would love to see that that cleaned up, as well as the paper. And I know that we didn't throw the paper out there, but I would love to see at least once a week on Dartmouth Avenue, there's 22nd Street and 32nd Street cleaned. There was Councilor Matthew, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you about the meeting of the minds, and we will sit down the coming year, the meeting of the minds. Not only will we sit down the coming year and for financial and of financial businesses. We'll sit down as well as legislative businesses, for the city of Bessemer, as well as ordinances. And there is a portion of the city code that has 1, 2, 3 ordinances in it that we truly need to sit down. And I think January we will, as you stated, get just a meeting for that. Attorney Harris, are you on the line? Attorney Harris, are you on the line? Attorney Harris? Unmute yourself.
I am now unmuted. Should be. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
you're unmuted now. Did you have the opportunity to hear what I said about the portion of the city's code that have the ordinance in that has at least 2 to 3 ordinances that I've been speaking of, I know, for about 4 months. And we need to go ahead and formally request through the city clerk's office to receive that portion of the city's code. I know we have code books, but I looked in several of the books, and there are several pages that has been torn out of the book. So what we'll do, Attorney Harris, is request that portion from the city clerk. Is that the way we're speaking of doing it, Attorney Harris?
Yeah, I can do that by in writing. Yes, if you like.
Okay, and after we receive those ordinances, we will sit down, council, and we'll have a roundtable discussion. If it has to be via Zoom, we'll still have to have a roundtable discussion, because I understand, but I don't understand, and the way it's being explained to me, I totally don't agree with it. Me personally, I don't agree with it for it being a city. So we'll sit down and we'll discuss it as a council body, and maybe we can come up with some more legislation to add to that. I think that is all fire safety. Mayor Gully, if we can, on just a moment, Councilor Matthew, I got you.
Okay.
Fire safety, if we can, next meeting, can we have the chief or someone who does fire safety to come on and give us a few words of fire safety? I had a house fire on Berkeley Avenue and 31st Street there that house burned so quickly. You can bat your eyes and open your eyes back up, and the house was burned. It didn't burn any humans, but it did burn all of her dogs. So if we can get one of the chief or someone who does fire safety to come on next Tuesday and give us a word or two about fire safety and about our working smoke detectors in our homes. Councilor Matthews?
Madam President.
Yes, sir, Mayor Gunn.
Chief McFarland is on the phone, is on the line right now. I'll get with him and we'll make sure that we have somebody available, and so to speak, concerning fire.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, because I hated to see her cry. She cried. She had 4 dogs, and all dogs were destroyed. But it happens like that. Chief McFarland, how are you? I didn't see you on the line. Good morning. Councilor Matthews.
Thank you, Madam
Councilor
Chair.
Matthews?
Yes, I'm
Yes,
here.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah. When you open up, I just like to I know you made reference about an icon, but I just like to say let's pray for the Thomas family. We know Cal passed away on yesterday, and let's pray for the Thomas family, please. Keep them in your prayer. That's one of our long-standing business, been in the city of Bessemer, the owner of one of our that have stood the test of time in this city for years. So it should be commended, and let's pray for that family. Mayor, you made mention about the CDC guidelines and carrying out the appropriate action. And the reason why I asked this, ever since New Bethlehem has started in-person worship, we purchased sanitizing spray and gowns or suits for our custodians to spray the church in its entirety, even the Family Life Center. I guess the janitorial service, are they using any type of disinfectant that where they have to put on gowns and masks to spray in City Hall? I don't know if that's I don't think that was in our contract, but what type of disinfectant is being used in City Hall?
Madam President, Councilor Matthews, initially, we were working with a company that when an area was infected, we'd had the company come in and sterilize and stuff the area. That was in the early stages of the virus. In the latter stages of the virus, and now the police department has all the equipment that is necessary when an individual tests positive or if there are certain reasons in a department, not only City Hall, any department. Our police department is equipped and so with the necessary equipment to go in and sanitize and stuff the area.
Okay. And the last one is and someone brought it up, and when we took pictures the other day, we talked about the columns. Now, those same, I don't know if they're the same manufacturer, but at the Family Life Center in New Bethlehem, the same, I guess, engineer or architect did the Family Life Center in New Bethlehem, and our columns is okay. And I guess, have you all identified a company or a painter that can put primer paint on these columns where we won't have to continue to I guess paint them over and over again, because it's got to be something out there that's long lasting than what we have now. And I'm just trying to see, have we identified a company to do that task yet?
Council Matthews.
Yes.
If you recall, we discussed this at a previous planning session or a previous meeting.
Right.
I'm gonna let Ron Gilbert, EEFS, speak to where we are relevant and stuff to that, what we are and stuff doing. I guess at this particular point is writing up the specs and stuff for those columns, back and front, and hopefully when we are when we are finished and stuff with them this time, and so whatever and stuff that issue may have been and stuff, it will be addressed. Ron, you want to speak to that and where we are?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Yeah, we're in the process of writing the specs now, and we'll get prices from 4 or 5 industrial painters that are experienced in doing this type of painting. But during our research, we found out that the Extreme Bond primer made by Sherwin-Williams is probably going to be the best paint for that, Councilor Matthews, and we're probably going to have to take it. We think now we're going to have to take it all the way down to the fiberglass, because those are fiberglass columns. They're wrapped around a metal column that's there. So the columns are mainly for show, but
right.
We have done the research and we feel confident that that's going to be the solution to the problem.
Okay, well, may been a Monday May column. Okay, thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Counselor.
Could have been Friday.
Thank you, Counselor. Attorney Payne, are you on the line? Mayor Gully?
Yes, ma'am.
Have we
Hello?
closed on, have we, Mayor Gully? Have we closed? Mayor Gully?
Yes, I'm on the
Can
line.
you? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, have we closed on 1800 3rd Avenue?
Have we closed on 1800 3rd Avenue?
Yes, sir.
Attorney Payton, do you want to speak in something to that? To my understanding, yes. We've closed some
Okay.
time ago on that. Shan,
Okay,
you
I
want to speak
did,
to that?
I have it on my tablet. I had not marked it off that we had closed on it.
Hey, Councilor Dawn, Madam President, this is Shan. We have not closed on 1800 3rd Avenue.
Well, I stand corrected. Okay.
I have not heard from them in some time. I know that they had some concern about brownfield issue there, but I have not heard back from them in quite some time. I think Terrain's been talking to them on occasion, but I haven't talked to them in probably 30 days or so.
Thank you all so much for that. I can keep that open on my tablet. I don't usually close them out until I've been told that we have closed, but I'll keep that open, and I will be asking that question again in the next 30 days. Thank you, counselors, for all of your concerns, all of your questions. You all go and have a good day. I need a motion, please. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second. Thank you all. Have a great day now. Bye-bye.